TikTok dying? And today, Juma and I decided to do something different. We
Something
decided
brand new.
we decided to, join forces and become one to create a show called Behind the Scenes with a Content Creator because there's so many things that we want to talk about individually.
Wait, hold on. Is it not the secret life of a content creator?
Oh yeah, the secret life.
Oh, there we go. All right, so that's the first thing we need to get right. The name of the show. All
This
right,
is
go
gonna be
ahead.
the best show
Okay,
ever.
go ahead, Sri. Go ahead.
Well, the secret life of a content creator with Juma and myself, we believe that we have content ideas, topics we want to discuss, but sometimes it's a little difficult to do with our platforms. But we said, hey, let's try something different and bring it to our audiences, especially because these are hot topics that are out there. And so, Juma, kind of tell the people who you are. What do
Okay,
you do?
so I am well, my that's my name is Juma Bannister. I am the executive creative director at Relay Studios, a strategic marketing and production company based in Trinidad and Tobago. And on LinkedIn, I do help business owners DIY content marketing with lessons. And so I run the Useful Content podcast and I make useful content on LinkedIn. So that's most of what I do. If you could Google me online, you'll find the rest, I guess.
Absolutely. Like, definitely Google Juma. Give him a follow if you're not following him here on LinkedIn, here on Facebook. I'm also here on I have X, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. We're all connected. We should all connect with each other. But for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Shri, and I'm a video marketing producer. I work with medical, dental, and law professionals to create that content using video, live streaming, podcasts, social media, so that they can get the leads to be able to expand their team so that they can have more time to focus on their business, their families. Again, if any of this type of stuff is what you need help with, reach out to Juma or reach out to me. So let's get into this topic of, is TikTok dying? So, for those of you who are not like, why would I want to care about TikTok? Let's start with that. TikTok wasn't always an app that had music. They actually went and purchased, and if I'm not mistaken, Musically, right?
Yeah, musically, yeah. And Dance Bite purchased musically.
And at the time, it was like, okay, here's an app. Let's do little funny dances. And it was really just the birth of real short form video. I remember back in 2019, I posted a video I was house sitting for somebody. They had these two dogs, and I didn't understand the FYP, and people kept commenting, put hashtag FYP. I had no idea what was going on, which is common for many people who come on the app today. You're like, what is FYP? What does this mean? But the reason why we're going to dive a little bit deep in the back, give you a backstory, is because TikTok is wanting to look more and more like YouTube, but why?
Yeah.
So here we understand that they started out as an app. They purchased Musically. They wanted it to be where you could do fun little, this is what it was created for, just do videos and do something fun. But recently, there has been some changes. And so I don't know if you know about.
Are you gonna click? You're
No,
gonna show
I'm
it?
waiting for you. If you do, Universal Music Group. So,
Right.
so what
Right.
it is that Universal Music Group decided to pull their music
Mm,
from the app. And
mm,
here's why: because they weren't paying royalties, or they were delaying, or they were not paying what they should.
yeah.
So now you have a platform that just exploded really quickly, has music, a lot of talent that if you heard Juma's newest song drop on TikTok, and next thing you know, people are using it, it's exploding, they're downloading it. Now Juma's getting famous, but then Juma's like, okay, where's my money? Where's my
Yeah.
money?
Yeah. But it's interesting. So like with Universal Music Group, is massive distributors for music, including artists like TikTok, artists like TikTok, artists like Taylor Swift and Drake and The Weeknd, and they have the license for all those types of music. But TikTok runs on music. TikTok runs on the audio part. It's one of the few platforms where you want to keep the audio on. And so it's interesting that they would do that now, because one of the most annoying things about TikTok content is that when you uh, go into someone's feed and you see that little speaker at the bottom with a little X on it and there is no audio, that's one of the most frustrating things. So what's happening now is that a ton of people's content, they have had the audio removed and you're seeing that little speaker at the bottom. So that is a problem for TikTok.
And it becomes a problem for if you're a social media manager, if you had a voiceover that had this beat and it made the video, now you're kind of like, what is this video? Even when you open the app, you're like, okay, what would I put in? This video was because of this voiceover. How is this going to work? It's not the same anymore.
Yeah.
So now, as a business owner or a medical, dental, or law firm, you're kind of like, well, why should I be on TikTok to begin with? So let's dive a little bit deeper. Why should you be on TikTok, Juma?
Okay, so TikTok is really very good for top of funnel content, for the short form content. And if you want to get known locally very, very fast, because how the TikTok algorithm works is that it spreads out locally first. And once your post takes up, gets traction, it then goes out into other places. So TikTok is very localized. I remember when I first started on TikTok, what used to happen is that people used to see me at the gas station and at the grocery and say, "Hey, you're that guy from TikTok," which was so strange because I'd been on social media for so many years and it had never happened that way before. So a lot of people locally who are on the platform began seeing the content, and that is what it's like. So it starts off geofenced, it's local first, and it spreads out. So if you want a strong presence with top of funnel content in your local area first, then TikTok is very, very useful for that.
But let me ask you, okay, so when I get on the For You page, this is the page that when you open the app, you'll see everybody, you don't even know who they are. But then how do ads work? Like, have you ever tried their ads? And would this be even a smart idea to do?
I don't know. TikTok ads don't work in my country, so we don't ever see ads. But what I do know from doing some research about the ads is that ads do work on TikTok, but you have to make the ads look like native content if you really want it to work well. So there are some people who run ads, and ads are labeled as such. There's some people who run ads who do very well because it's labeled. It's done like a regular content video. The better way to do it, in my mind, is to have like user generated content or have an influencer do some product placement for you. That is easier than just running a complete straight up ad.
So here's something. If you guys have questions, comments, thoughts about what we're talking about, do drop them in the comment section because we want to read them. We also want to know what are some topics you have in mind. Right now we're diving into TikTok and its evolution, and right now we're discussing, not trying, we're discussing, is this a platform for your practice, for your business? And I will say that I actually ran ads. You can run ads to grow your following. Getting to 1,000 on TikTok is sometimes quite difficult. And here's why: because not all content resonates very well on the different platforms.
Mm.
Case in point, yesterday or Monday, I did a post about my father and the journey with his dementia, and how what is hard now for us is easy, and then what is easy now can become difficult. I posted it on TikTok and it didn't do well at all. However, I posted the same video and it did well on Instagram and it did really well here on LinkedIn. So it makes me wonder, like, what is the algorithm like? What do we need to do to change? You can cross post, but you have to understand, if you cross post, not all content does well. For example, now TikTok is pushing that they want you to do longer form content, a
Mm.
minute or more. Now on Instagram, you can't really post more than a minute. If it is a little bit longer, I don't have access to it. And then on LinkedIn, you could do more than a minute. So going back
Yeah.
to the ads, you can use the ads to grow your following. You can use the ads to target a certain, demographic, and you can use the ads if that person is always looking at that type of content, then that type of ad will start appearing into your feed. And I really believe that a lot of other platforms like Instagram, even LinkedIn, they're following that algorithm. So that's something to think about if you're like, well, maybe should I not? It's something to really look into if this is what you want to do for your business or practice.
Yeah, I think that's good. But I also would want to add to that is that while you can use ads to grow your following, and believe me, that 1,000 followers thing is important because that's when you get to live stream. And I'll always say, I remember when you were just on the brink of getting it, and you were like, it's like 900 and something, and you wanted to get. And I have somebody who I follow on. Somebody who I know, a guy in the industry who does like live streaming and camera work and stuff like that. And he was just like asking, "Can you guys please go follow my company?" Because he wants to get to 1,000 for the same reason. So I went across and I did follow his company. But apart from the getting to 1,000 to live stream, like organic reach on TikTok is still one of the best out there. Is less than it used to be, but if you make really great content, if you structure the content the right way, then it really gives you great organic reach. I know a lot of people start off with TikTok and they get frustrated because they feel they have to be a particular way, or they have to do a dance, or they must make music the point of the thing. That's not necessarily true, even though TikTok has been known for the comedy and the dancing and the funny short videos. You can do what you do and stand out and still do very well on TikTok. So you don't necessarily have to go with the flow in terms of what you see being popular.
And I will also add, I've noticed that certain industries have a certain style of video. So, for example, a social media manager, you'll see that it might be a little bit grainy or it's not so, it feels real. They're just talking to you. And those videos and those social media managers tend to do well on the platform versus like, somebody who's in mindset or something, and their videos look a little different. So I would say don't get caught in the whole editing, but I will say if you have captions, like on any video, on any platform, we love to read videos. We watch videos, but we read them because maybe we're somewhere where we should not be, like in a meeting, and we're watching a video. I wanted to ask you, Juma. Now, Juma has like over 10,000 followers on TikTok. He's
No, I don't. I don't. Thank you for the extra 3,000 followers free.
I'm going to give it to you. Like, okay, he has 7,000. Okay.
And 7,000 plus, yeah. Okay.
But he has videos that actually exploded, went viral.
Mm-hmm.
When we say viral, like 100,000, 10,000.
I think
I think you had one at 10,000. I know.
I think my biggest video right now is 150,000 views.
So then why are you not posting on TikTok? Why are you used to be on it, used to go live. What happened?
TikTok is, well, there's a few reasons. I will give the first reason to scare everybody away, and then I'll give the other reasons which might not be as scary. The first reason is that TikTok, making content for TikTok is brutal. It's very difficult, especially if you're running a business. And let me tell you why. TikTok is a hungry beast. It wants content. It says more when you feed it. And so there are some people who may have a lot more time than I do, who are posting 2 or 3 times a day. I was just posting once a day. But it means that if I'm posting 6 times a week, once a day, that I'm going to have to come up with 6 original videos for TikTok, which means I'm going to have to sit down and batch create all this content, come up with new ideas. And the whole process of doing that and not really being able to repurpose it in the way I wanted was a very, very difficult thing to do. But I committed to it for a year, and I did it for a year. And after that year, after my experimentation, after figuring out how the algorithm works, after figuring out the things that TikTok needs in order for a video to go far, I said, okay, I know enough. I can advise people at least for the next couple of years or until the algorithm changes. And I decided to bow out to focus on longer form content. And so that's the main reason why. So it's hard to create the content. But number two, I wanted to focus on building out the podcast and other long form content that would focus on the my ideal client. Oh, and that's actually the second reason is that the kind of traction I was getting on TikTok wasn't with my ideal client, so it didn't really make sense going deeper, even though I was getting popular, but it technically wasn't making me more money.
I will actually say this part about the content creation. If you are struggling to create content and you're in your head, I will highly suggest just post it, especially if you're trying to get on camera, you don't like the way you look or sound, but still just create that content and you will see what works, what doesn't. And it's helped me personally by posting consistently every day or every other day that I am looking at it and I can see, okay, this is how I can take this video and make it, a little bit different.
Mhm,
Just for me, because sometimes I'm so in my head. I just need to get it out there even if it's not the way, like it doesn't make sense, you're like, what is this? At least it's out there. Once it's out there, I can figure out, okay, this is what needs to change. This is what I can add. And I've learned with editing on CapCut, you just record those few things you need and then you just add it. That's the beauty of it editing. That's how I've used TikTok to help me get better with posting content, not getting in my head. If this idea works for you, let us know in the comments how it is. But I do agree with Juma. It is a beast. It does want you to post. You don't have to post 3 times. Obviously, the more times you post, the more visibility you get. But even with just once a day or 4 times a week and you actually engage, it will help. Say it's the engagement is key on all these platforms.
mhm, mhm,
Like it doesn't even matter. I've made friends on TikTok. I've met them in real life. We connected on all platforms. So even if I'm just getting like 200, 300 views, I always say, hey, at the end of the day, somebody's watching.
mhm,
Somebody's looking to see what other platforms am I on, and they're following me. And
mhm.
we have here Tiba St. John saying very important.
Yeah. Oh, that's my cousin actually.
Oh, gotta love cousins and family who come around and show support. Okay.
Yeah.
So we dived a little bit deep into, what is TikTok? Why should you be on there? A little bit of the backstory. It was they bought Musically. They were just a music app. We were doing crazy dances. In 2020, especially, people exploded, became these influencers, and now a lot of musicians and artists are like, well, I want to get paid my royalties. Now,
Mhm,
here comes the next topic. TikTok is pushing horizontal videos. So you're going from a video app that's like looks like this, not like this, but vertical to they want it horizontal.
mhm.
So, what are your thoughts on this, Juma?
Uh, okay. So it's a hard thing. There have been a few companies that have tried to do what the king of horizontal video has done, YouTube. And as of yet, there's no one who has been successful in doing it. We have had companies like Vimeo and Wistia, and maybe those companies aren't specifically created to have like a public, massive public following and free content. Maybe they weren't designed like that. But my thoughts on TikTok trying to do that is that it's smart. First of all, I think they are doing something that is smart because long form content isn't going anywhere. But also, it's going to be rough because YouTube is so embedded inside of the ecosystem of this type of content, and then YouTube is not standing on its own. YouTube is Google. YouTube is Alphabet. YouTube is all of this resource behind it, so it can afford to do certain things that a company like ByteDance may not be able to afford to do. But in terms of the actual horizontal video, I think it's a great idea, and I would say go for it. Whether or not it would be better than YouTube in time to come? That is to be seen. What do you think, Shri?
So, what I think it's pretty cool that they are pushing us to do longer videos so we can get our thoughts out a little bit more. But it also means, for example, this actual video, this live show, there are so many gems that when I cut it and I post it, when you first open the app, because it's something that they want users to do, they're going to push it out to more and more people. So when you open the app, it's going to look like this, but then it will tell you if you turn it to the side that you will get the whole view. Now, what I will tell you is if you watch the same video on your laptop, it does kind of feel like YouTube. And so even other creators are noticing like the reason why TikTok wants to be YouTube is because they want the money. Right now, they're losing a huge base of artists for music because they can't pay.
Yeah.
And and I also think like they want to be able to keep people longer on the platform. How many of us would love to know if you're watching the live or the replay, drop a heart. Are you binge watching videos on YouTube? When you see one long form for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you're binge watching the other videos. I know I do.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what YouTube does. YouTube gets you in this rabbit hole of content and it kind of takes you down in this hole of content, and then you're watching for 2 hours and you're like, oh my goodness. Especially if it is a creator that you like and you discover someone new who's good. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to watch more of this particular person. And I think even though TikTok is bingeable as well, uh, it's a different type of feeling when you watch YouTube videos for some reason. Like I don't know. And maybe this may be a perception thing or the type of content I consume across platforms, but I feel smarter when I come away from watching YouTube videos. I don't know. That's a bad thing to say. I think I feel smarter when I come away from YouTube than I do from TikTok. Maybe that's just a function of my algorithm, but I don't know. I think that may be a thing. So people see the platforms differently. They see TikTok as fun, and they may see YouTube as edutainment, fun plus education.
And that's the whole rebranding. Like even a lot of people don't like watching the horizontal videos. They actually complain. They say that even though they're getting pushed out, the retention is not the same. However, this is what TikTok is asking because they want to be like YouTube. But just like you, I go to YouTube if I want to learn how to change a tire. I'm going to play that video while I'm changing the tire, stopping and doing and what I need to do. And this is the same thing if you're learning how to edit videos or want to learn copywriting or want to learn how to start a live streaming show, you are doing these things. And so I don't know necessarily if TikTok is dying personally. I just think that TikTok is realizing that their old ways of doing business is not working and that they need to pivot.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that they've been evolving, by the way. They have been evolving from just because of course, their legacy is musically, so it would have been focused squarely on music. And TikTok does have a lot of educators, does have a lot of traditional businesses. You see lawyers on there, you see construction workers on there, you see mechanics on there, because it's a wide range of people now as opposed to what it was when it first came across to be TikTok. But I still think that in terms of when I think about education, I still go to YouTube. So for example, the other day, my kitchen sink, we have a Kohler faucet on the kitchen sink, and it just was not working. And I didn't go to TikTok to look at how to fix that problem. I went straight to YouTube and I found a video, and it said exactly what to do. Don't mind that the kitchen got slightly flooded, but it told me exactly what to do, and I was able to solve the problem just the same way you said. I would go and look at the video. So my wife was like, this isn't working. And she sees me in the office here sitting and looking at the video. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm learning how to fix the problem by looking at these YouTube videos. And I think that's still the perception about YouTube videos. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes if I'm not trying to look for all these answers on Google, I will use TikTok. I will search. I will find the answers that I'm looking for if I know what I'm looking for. Again, most of us, if we're looking for a doctor, dentist, lawyer, we're looking on Google, but not everybody can be number one, even
Mhm.
if you're paying to be number one. But if you're looking on TikTok for a specific problem, your video could be the first one because it may be in an industry where there's not a lot of people or that topic isn't being talked about by everybody. And then
Mhm.
on YouTube, it's based on views and you're just looking for something. So I would say we live in a world where we'll use both. We have your cousin Atiba saying because the amount of information you get on TikTok in 30 seconds, it won't sync like a YouTube video for 10 minutes. And we're finding there are 10-minute
Yeah.
videos on TikTok as well. So there is a little bit of a competition, but there's also you have to look at see who is the creator because the same creator. Here's something else that we have to think about. There are many creators who are on YouTube who will not ever leave YouTube. They don't care about LinkedIn. They don't care about Facebook. They care. They're like, I don't even know I want to be on TikTok, but now this might be an invitation because of these newer features that they will want to join.
Yeah, most definitely. And a good example of that on TikTok is recently this series has been blowing up on TikTok. Um, it, okay, I'm going to talk about it, but I'm going to say pinch of salt, right? I'm going to talk about it, but I'm going to say pinch of salt. So there is a creator called, she's called Risa Tisa or something like that, or Risa Tessa, and she made 50 videos, a series of 50 videos. Each of the videos are 10 minutes long, and it's talking about, well, she got married and then it turns out the person is crazy, and she's talking about the process of how she met them all the way to getting this divorce, right? But she's documenting the process on TikTok, and 500 minutes of videos, each of those videos getting 1.2 million views, 1.6 million views. She's getting millions of views. Now, to some people, this is an anomaly. How could a TikTok video, 10 minutes each, a series of 50, get millions of views? But this is what is happening right now, and it's blowing all the way up. And it's not even like she's trying to be slick and have a slick intro and hooks and all these graphics. It's just her talking about her experiences. So I guess one of the main things is that what is the content people want to consume? That's a
Mhm.
big thing. And so people will consume the content if it's relevant to them, if they find value in it, even if it's 10 minutes long and it's on TikTok.
Well, there you have it. We broke down is TikTok dying? Why you should be on the platform? Why should you, if you're thinking about getting, trying a new platform, how it could work for your business or practice, and just kind of give you some insight. Juma shared why he left the platform, what it meant to him, but I don't think it's a bad thing. Like sometimes you focus on where your business is coming. If it's from LinkedIn, then you stay on LinkedIn. If it's Facebook. I will share that once you get a hang of one platform, you can learn another one. And if it's sister is Instagram, you're going to be on Instagram. So, any last words before we end for today?
Well, I would say choose where your audience lives, which is popular advice. And if something doesn't work, try something else, experiment. So you don't have to be stuck in any one place. It's kind of TikTok. Well, to respond to what you're saying, TikTok isn't dying. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. The title was just kind of provocative, but we know it's not dying. And also, I'm not sure if I'm ever going back to TikTok. I might not. So what do you have to say, Shri? What are your final landing words?
My final landing words are that video is here to stay. As you can see, even though we were talking about platforms, many businesses, many practices are still like, well, why should I be on video? And this is the reason why people are watching. People are paying attention. They want to connect with you. And if you decide that you want to start just with practice being on TikTok, you can do that. Nobody, I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of people, they don't see my videos, but the same video performs wonderfully on LinkedIn and everybody sees it. So this is just some things to keep in mind. We also have here from your cousin who says, but most influencers use TikTok as I advertise platform to direct traffic to their main
Yeah,
site. And it's true.
yeah,
You can use TikTok, Instagram, you can drive people to you can take a short form of your podcast and then drive them to your podcast, or you could take a short, clip from your YouTube video and drive people to YouTube.
yeah. That's a sound tactic, and as far as distribution is concerned, when you're thinking about how you're going to get people back to the place that you want them to buy, let's just suppose you have a sales page or a landing page, and you're putting out content on TikTok specifically to get people back to the site with link in bio or with other information. That's a sound way to do it. Yes.
Absolutely. So if you have any questions regarding what we just talked about today, or you want to learn more about how we can help your business or practice, definitely reach out to us. We're here on LinkedIn, Facebook. I know that I'm on TikTok
Your TikTok.
posting. And if you're on YouTube, definitely reach out. But until the next episode, thank you so much for
Thank you so
Juma for doing this for
much.
me.
Bye bye, everybody. I don't know what do I have
Bye.
to slide off the screen like this? I don't know.
Bye.
Bye.